In this video, we're going to talk about how to work with the hardware-backed Keystore and some changes that have been made since Android 7 or API 24. So to get some background here, there is a new security tool which is referred to as key attestation in Android 7 now. And this tool effectively raises the assurance that the key pairs stored within a device hardware-backed key store are in fact used to secure the sensitive information for your application. And again, not that this didn't happen before in versions previous to 7, but there wasn't an explicit tool that will allow you to verify that your various key pairs, whether they be RSA or whatnot, were actually created and stored in that device hardware-backed key store. All right, because if it is and it was working within your execution environment, that is the highest really level of assurance that we know of to make sure that your app information and the sensitive information that it's protecting its data is actually secure. So on the screen here, this is a sample settings actually from Android itself. It just shows you some of the actual available settings like attestation version, security level, that type of thing. Okay, so it's very important that you familiarize yourself with most of these if you're going to get into the actual tool. We're going to get into a little bit of code though, rather than go through this list, but I just wanted to mention that this is available on the Android website you can go and look at. Okay, so let's see what some of this code looks like. I have a sample function here called sample key attestation related. You do need to throw a certificate exception as part of your declaration here. The first thing I'm going to do here is get an array of X509 certificates. Now, I've made up some fake ones here. Okay, so, obviously on the device, yours will be real. But basically, this is your typical free text certificate. Now, there's 3 of them, of course, right? So we're obviously very familiar with our intermediate and our root certificates. But the attestation certificate is new. All right, so this has been added here. So again, just imagine that's fully populated here. So I have my apps certificate chain here that I'm interested in. And again, the whole point here is this attestation certificate or security tool is meant to have the highest level of assurance that we're dealing with the hardware-backed key store on the device. All right, so we called load certificates here. All right, so what we're going to do here is go ahead and actually build that array. All right, so we're going to load that. And then we're going to do a verification process here. And in the verification process, we're just going to run through the certificates. We're going to check things like validity. So we can use basically the expiration, all that type of stuff. And then we can iterate through the certificates to make sure that they're all verified with the public key, for example. And what that does is it ensures that obviously this is the correct certificate. I'm just going to scroll up here and do an alt enter on here. Add more exceptions to the signature here. All right, because it has to be able to fire. Because of the types of thing we're doing in the verified chain, it has to be able to handle certain types of exceptions, all right, that we have here. So again, one of the key aspects of this video was to get into the code of what you need to do. I want you to follow this methodology when you're actually working with the key attestation security tool. And effectively, what you need to do is load your certificates, okay, your root, your intermediate, and your attestation key, and you need to check them all. And at the start of this video, I had that list from Android up in terms of all the attributes and those kind of things that you can actually use to check with. So you can kind of take a look at that, versions, all that kind of stuff, and then figure out what you actually want to check. And when you do that, basically you follow this code approach I've done here for your application to ensure that it's using the correct hardware-backed key store.